They told me Ashurbanipal was the world's first librarian. They were half right. He was also history's most systematic thief. The British Museum's Kuyunjik collection holds over 30,000 clay tablets from Nineveh, Ashurbanipal's great library. Most scholars search them for epic poetry, like the Gilgamesh. I search for receipts, specifically tribute receipts, because when you conquer an empire from Egypt to Persia, you don't just burn cities, you empty their treasuries. For years, I tracked a pattern, specific gold artifacts mentioned as tribute from Lydia, Urartu, and Babylon, that never appeared in Assyrian temple inventories or later plunder records. They vanished. Then I found tablet K3371, catalogued as Administrative Record, Palace Linen. But the accountant's notation at the bottom, in tiny, precise cuneiform, froze me. For the construction of the lion's den beneath the paws of the great Lamassu that faces the desert. 300 talents of limestone, 50 talents of cedarwood, payment to the Babylonian architect who will not speak of it. The treasure of 20 kings sleeps where the guardian never blinks. A construction receipt for a secret vault. The great Lamassu that faces the desert. Nineveh had many Lamassu, those colossal winged bull statues at palace gates. But only one faced directly west, toward the Syrian desert, the Lamassu at the Nergal Gate, the ceremonial entrance used for military triumphs. The hunt for Ashurbanipal's $85 million plundered gold reserve had begun with an accountant's footnote. Clue 1. The Lamassu that never blinks. The Nergal Gate. Lamassu is a monster of stone. 5 meters tall, facing west. Its eyes were once inlaid with crystal or gemstones to see approaching enemies. The clue said, beneath the paws. But which paw? And how deep? Ground-penetrating radar around the gate showed nothing unusual, until I considered the Assyrian engineering principle of sympathetic foundation. Important statues had foundations mirroring their above-ground form. If the Lamassu had its left foot forward, as it did, its foundation stone would extend deeper on that side. We scanned vertically beneath the left forepaw. At 7 meters down, a sacred number in Assyrian numerology, the radar revealed a void, not a natural cavity. A square chamber, approximately 4 meters, the lion's den. But Nineveh is an open archaeological site in modern-day Iraq. We couldn't just dig up a protected monument. We needed to find the entrance. The clue said, the guardian never blinks. The Lamassu's inlaid eyes would catch the sunset. Perhaps the entrance was aligned with a specific solar event. Clue 2. The sunset key. I spent 2 weeks at the Nergal Gate at sunset. On the spring equinox, something remarkable happened. As the sun dipped below the western desert horizon, its final direct beam, a phenomenon called the last gleam, struck the Lamassu's left eye, what would have been a crystal inlay, at a precise angle. I traced that beam's reverse trajectory. It pointed to a spot 30 paces east of the statue in what was once a service courtyard for the gate guards. Today, it's just compacted earth and pottery fragments. We obtained permission for a limited exploratory dig. At exactly 30 Assyrian paces, about 25 meters, we hit a large, flat limestone slab at 2 meters depth. Not a pavement stone. This was cut with iron rings for lifting. We cleared around it. The slab covered a vertical shaft descending into darkness. The entrance wasn't under the Lamassu. It was connected by that sightline, a solar trigger, only visible 2 days a year. Clue 3. The architect's trap. We descended the shaft. It was lined with perfectly fitted bricks stamped with Ashurbanipal's royal seal, the king hunting lions. At the bottom, a corridor sloped downward, heading back toward the Lamassu's location. The air was cool and dry, carrying the faint scent of cedar, the wood mentioned in the receipt. The corridor ended at a blank wall of black basalt. In its center was a bronze panel, green with verdigris, depicting the Assyrian tree of life. But the fruit on the tree were not stylized. They were 20 distinct symbols, each representing a conquered kingdom. Egyptian ankhs, Hittite sun discs, Phoenician ships, Urartian fortresses, etc. This was the lock, the treasure of 20 kings. But there was no keyhole. Then I remembered the receipt, the Babylonian architect who will not speak of it. Babylonian mathematicians were geniuses. This was a combination lock. The solution was in Ashurbanipal's own propaganda. His annals boasted of conquest in a specific order. I pulled out my notebook where I'd transcribed his campaign chronology. The correct sequence to pick the fruit was the order in which he subjugated each kingdom, according to his official royal inscriptions. Touching the symbols in that sequence: 1. Babylonia, his brother's kingdom; 2. Elam; 3. Egypt; 4. Urartu, each one depressed slightly with a soft click. On the 20th symbol, Judah, a deep clunk echoed in the wall. The entire basalt slab slid sideways, revealing the chamber. Clue 4. The Horde of Empires. The light from our headlamps bounced back in 1,000 golden directions. The chamber was indeed a den. Along the walls were life-sized golden lions, like the ones that pulled Ashurbanipal's chariot in reliefs. But these were three-dimensional, hammered from thick gold sheet over wooden cores. Their eyes were rubies. But the true wealth was systematic. The room was organized like a museum of plunder. On labeled shelves, the cedarwood from the receipt, sat the missing tribute: Egyptian, gold statuettes of gods, a solid gold crook and flail. Lydian, the world's first gold coins, in neat stacks, stamped with lion heads. Babylonian, gold votive offerings to Marduk, including a perfect miniature ziggurat. Urartian, heavy gold bracelets and belts inset with lapis. Phoenician, gold furniture fittings and ship's prows. In the center stood Ashurbanipal's own contribution, a solid gold throne. Not for sitting, it was a miniature, a symbolic seat of empire. Upon it rested a single clay tablet. I carefully lifted it. It was Ashurbanipal's own hand, and it read, "Let the kings who come after me know the wealth of the world is here. Not to be spent, but to be measured. For he who can hold the treasure of 20 nations without spending it is truly king. This is the weight of empire." This was no emergency fund. This was a trophy room, a physical manifestation of imperial control. Ashurbanipal didn't hide this gold to save it. He hid it to own it completely, to remove it from the economy of man and place it in the economy of glory. The weight of empire, the Iraqi State Board of Antiquities, took over. Each item was catalogued in situ. The golden lions alone weighed over 50 kilos each. The throne, 120 kilon of pure gold. The valuation was astronomical, but methodical. Gold lions, 4, 200-plus kilon gold, plus priceless artistry and rubies, $25 million. Gold throne, 120 kilon solid gold, unique historical artifact, 18 million Lydian gold coins, 2,000 plus, first coinage, pristine. Numismatic value, $20 million, Egyptian and other gold artifacts, statuettes, weapons, jewelry, $22 million, total, $85 million, a conservative figure that ignored the incalculable value of rewriting our understanding of Assyrian economics. The hoard is now split between the Iraq Museum in Baghdad and a special exhibition at the British Museum, finally reuniting the tablets that documented the treasure with the treasure itself. For me, the discovery revealed a new Ashurbanipal, not just the scholar king, but the psychologist king. He understood that true power isn't in displaying wealth, but in possessing it so completely that it becomes invisible. He built a secret museum of his own conquests, a private confirmation of his world domination. For 2,600 years, his lamassu really never blinked. It stood guard over a king's obsessive heart, where gold wasn't currency, but crystallized ambition.